And we continue at 1:05 in the afternoon. Talk Radio 790 KABC, The John Phillips Show. Broadcasting live on this Jimmy Buffett Friday, Mr. Randy Wangs in Culver City.
Okay, John, tell me if you've ever heard this one before. At a Zoom briefing with the president, Gavin Newsom told Joe Biden that the real problem in Los Angeles dealing with these fires is not government incompetence, it's misinformation.
I ask you, we've got to deal with this misinformation. There were hurricane force winds of mis and disinformation, lies. People want to divide this country, and we're going to have to address that as well. And it breaks my heart as people are suffering and struggling that we're up against those hurricane forces as well. And that's just a point of personal privilege that I share that with you because it infects real people that are out there, people I meet every single day, people the mayor's been meeting with, and they're having conversations that are not the typical conversations you'd have at this time, and you wonder where this stuff comes from, and it's very damaging as well. But we're here to get the job done.
He's saying it's misinformation because everyone's blaming him and the mayor.
This isn't misinformation. What exactly is being misreported here?
Well, I'll tell you. Originally, there was a big debate as to whether or not there was water in the fire hydrants. The claim was made by Rick Caruso on Fox 11 that there was no water in the fire hydrants. That's what the firefighters on the line had told him. That's what he observed with his own two eyes. And then you had people saying that wasn't true, including, I believe, the anchor on Good Day LA, who fact-checked Rick Caruso after playing the clip. But we found out from reporters, including from Gigi Graciette of Fox 11, that there was no water in the fire hydrants. And then they came out with an explanation as to why there was no fire in the fire hydrants. The next claim that was made that was alleged was fake news was that the reservoir was empty. That was something that was going around on social media. People who live in the area were making that claim, but no one had confirmed it. Well, today, the LA Times had confirmed that that reservoir was out of water. That was true.
It was offline for maintenance and completely empty.
Then the county of Los Angeles sent out alerts on your cell phone saying that you needed to evacuate because you were in an evacuation zone. And that turned out to be false. But the origins of that story was the county itself. And according to listeners, by the way, since we started the show and we've received a number of these emails, people are saying that they're getting emails telling them to evacuate false, or I guess text alerts, false text alerts after we started the broadcast today.
Nothing has damaged the public trust more than the county sending out 3 erroneous messages in a row yesterday at 4 o'clock, possibly more since then, and having no excuse for it other than we're going to find the root cause for it. That is straight up misinformation coming from the county.
Okay, so here's an email we just got from listener Mary. The subject line is in all caps, "I just got another alert now." She wrote, "I just got another alert while driving. I pulled over to text you guys. Unbelievable. I'm driving in La Habra, live in Fullerton, but phone number is an LA County line." And she sent me a copy of the alert from the County of Los Angeles. It's time-stamped at 1:02 on Friday, January the 10th. Here's what it says. Emergency alert, new. This is an emergency message from the Los Angeles County Fire Department. An evacuation warning, all in caps, has been issued in your area. Remain vigilant of any threats and be ready to evacuate. Gather loved ones, pets, and supplies. Continue to monitor local weather, news, and the webpage, alertla.org, for more information. They sent that out at 1:02 p.m. today.
If there's any silver lining to Mary, it's that I can see on the screenshot that she sent us that she's got T-Mobile, so she gets that free Wi-Fi when she flies American.
Unreal. When did they have that press conference where they said that they were working on this?
8 a.m.
Okay, at 8 a.m. today, they said that they were aware that they're sending out fake alerts. And then at 1:02 p.m. today, they sent out another one.
Would you like to hear Karen Bass have to answer for this nonsense?
Let's hear it.
My question is for Mayor.
And this is the same CBS reporter who she got in the fight with yesterday.
My question is for Mayor Bass. Jonathan Migliotti with CBS News. Yesterday, you asked for the public's patience as you assess the response. As you well know, then millions of people receive false alarms. It's been acknowledged here in this room that many may now be deactivating their alerts on their phones. I have heard from many people who are ignoring them altogether. We have red flag warnings still in effect. They will resume again next week. There is no rain in the forecast. What are you doing at this point to earn back people's trust and to make sure these mistakes don't happen again?
Well, first of all, I think that was addressed at the beginning of the press conference.
It was not addressed. They said, we don't know what happened. It was not a human error, so we don't know how it was caused. That's what your guy said.
By Kevin McGowan.
I would like that from you. I don't. You're the top official here.
So let me just be clear. I am going to spend every moment that I can making.
This is really the first time Karen Bass has ever been tested in a leadership position, and she is failing on every single level.
No, and people said, oh, Joe made a bad mistake choosing Kamala over her. Had he chosen Karen Bass, he'd be in a stronger position running for re-election. She's just as bad as Kamala.
I am going to spend every moment that I can making sure that I am in as many areas as possible, meeting and talking to residents to see what is needed in the recovery. But I also mentioned that we're moving into recovery mode at the same time.
Okay, she's not answering the question at all.
No, she's not.
Meaning that we want to see the city rebuilt. We want to see Los Angeles come together. Let me finish. We want to see Los Angeles come together.
You are deflecting from the question.
I had to raise the volume on here because he is not letting her get away with this. She
Good for him.
did not answer the question. The press has been fantastic on this. They are not playing with kid gloves anymore. We're done. These people failed us.
You are deflecting from the question. You have millions of people here who get these alerts. They are ignoring them. You still have red flag warnings in effect. There is a real threat here. What is your message to your constituents who are losing faith? You started this.
I want the residents of Los Angeles region to have faith in what we are doing 24 hours a day. I can say on behalf of our first responders from the fire department.
Once again, she's not answering the question.
No, she's not. And to be clear, they're continuing to send out these fake text messages.
The police department, we are doing everything we can to bring the situation under control, and success has been reported. We know that we're going to have a possible increase in the force of the winds at the beginning of next week, and getting Los Angeles prepared, doing everything we can to save.
Not going back to Africa this time?
Well, maybe it'll be Hawaii this time.
Doing everything we can to save lives. That is our number one job, to protect people's homes, to protect people's businesses, and to prepare to rebuild Los Angeles in a much better way. We're going to stand united. We're going to stand together, and we are not going to allow politics to.
It is not politics that the county keeps sending out false alarms.
No, this is what they're going to do. Anytime you point out their failures, you're being political, and you're the one that's bastardizing the response and preventing lives from being saved. That's what she's doing. That's what Newsom's doing.
Newsom goes to Biden and starts complaining about misinformation. The biggest source of misinformation about this fire came from L.A. County.
To interfere, and we're not going to allow people to divide us for political gain. Thank you.
This has nothing to do with politics, except for when she makes it about politics.
Okay, so let's talk about another point of quote-unquote misinformation. It has been reported by many, including us, that the budget of the L.A. Fire Department was cut by $17 million. The mayor is saying that was not a budget cut because that money was used for one-time expenditures, and since the items had been purchased, it was okay for the money to go away and not be redirected for other purposes. The police, or fire chief, rather, of Los Angeles has said that she regards those as cuts to her department. She was asked by Fox 11 if those cuts were an example of the city failing the fire department. She deflected and tried not to answer that question a number of times. The reporter kept needling her on it and kept asking follow-up questions. And finally, she said those cuts failed the fire department from the city. Randy, can we listen to that?
Did the city of Los Angeles fail you and your department and our city?
It's my job to stand up as a chief and exactly say justifiably what the fire department needs to operate to meet the demands of the community.
Did they fail you?
That is our job, and I tell you, that's why I'm here. So let's get us what we need so our firefighters can do their jobs.
Did they fail you?
Yes.
Oh, boy. By the way, Fox 11 and Good Day LA and Alex and Marla, they have been killing it on this fire.
That reporter, it sounded like Laura Diaz. It could have been someone else.
It's one of their Good Day LA reporters.
Okay. That reporter would not let her get away without answering the question. And what she said there is devastating. Keep in mind, these department heads work at the pleasure of the mayor. The mayor was the one that cut her budget. This woman essentially is now a goner because she answered that question honestly. The finger pointing has already started because this response has been so bad that initially they thought that the press would go along with it and they could all thank each other for their leadership and it would be like normal. But because people lost their homes and because this is so bad that it attracted the national news media, national reporters who don't have the relationships with these local politicians. They're not dependent on them for information to be able to do their job. So they're in and they're just asking the obvious questions that anyone observing this debacle would ask. And you can't do that without making them look awful. And that's what's happened. Karen Bass has lost control of this story. Gavin Newsom has lost control of this story. One of the things that happens when you're in a one-party state is you pretty much control everything. You control the elected members of the legislature if you're the executive. You control the judicial branch because they're dependent on you if they want to be promoted to a higher position on the bench. You control the universities and you control the state departments because they're all dependent on you for their budgets each and every year. And you control the news media because when you're in a one-party state, if your job is to report on, let's say, crime, and you're the mayor and you tell the police chief and you tell the city attorney and you tell the fire department to just not share information with that reporter, you can essentially prevent them from doing their job. So you can hit back against city government if they're doing something bad to a certain extent, but you can't really tell the whole truth because if you do, they will cut you out of the information loop. And what's happening right now is they're losing control. They're losing control over these relationships that they have with these other institutions because the story has gotten so big, it's not just in their own little fiefdom anymore. And they have no control over the networks. They have no control over the cable channels. They have no control over the outside of state newspapers. They have no control over the bloggers and the podcasters and everyone else. And that's why they're looking bad. If it was just the LA Times, if it was just the Sacramento Bee, if it was just local public radio and KNX and those entities, then they could spin it that they're doing a crackerjack job and everyone's happy and no one would know the difference. But with this story, this is the first time since Karen Bass became mayor that she has totally lost control. And to a certain extent, you could say the same thing about Gavin.
Oh, yeah. And look at this. Gavin, who just a few minutes ago complained to Biden about misinformation and has been complaining that no one's getting the story right on why the fire hydrants didn't have water in the Palisades, has just ordered an independent investigation of LADWP for the loss of water pressure in the fire hydrants.
Well, so many of their claims make no sense. Let's go back to Joe Biden, for example. He made the claim that the water was not accessible in the Pacific Palisades because the power was turned off. Okay, if you're in Riverside County, there's one company that sells you the water and one company that sells you the electricity. They're not under the same roof. You go to Southern California Edison and you go to whoever it is that provides water in your neighborhood. You write 2 checks every single month. In Los Angeles, it's a municipal utility. It's the LA Department of Water and Power. Water and power are under the same roof. If they turned the power off so that the water was not accessible, that's one company knowingly cutting off the water to an entire neighborhood that's on fire. Why in the world would LADWP ever do that?
This is the claim that Biden made yesterday.
The utilities, understandably, shut off power because they're worried the lines that they carried energy were going to be blown down and spark additional fires. And when they did that, it cut off the ability to generate pumping the water.
Okay, again, this is LADWP doing it to itself and not knowing that they did it to themselves.
And that's a completely different explanation than the head of DWP, who makes $750,000, was giving, and completely different from the fact that we find out today the reservoir was empty.
I think the reservoir being empty is a bigger deal than what Joe Biden is alleging. And talk about a guy who's just totally out of it. That press conference yesterday, when he's announcing all the damage that the fires have done, and then all of a sudden he just turns on a dime and starts talking about being a great grandpa and how happy he is.
He's got one more week, and then this isn't his problem anymore.
Or how about during the press avail when he throws it to Kamala and he goes, "So fire away," no pun intended.
At this point, you just have to laugh because the incompetence is all around us. And this is what happened in Maui on steroids.
If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, in the San Francisco Bay Area, you and I are on the move.
We do the Fix California Hour weeknights at 11 o'clock on KSFO. We're moving that signal from 560 to 810, which you can now get here down in Southern California. At night, it comes in crystal clear. So set a preset AM 810 and listen to us at 11 o'clock. It probably won't be fire coverage.
Here with an update on the fires, Mr. Randy Wang.
We have the latest numbers from the Eaton fire. That's the one that has taken out parts of Pasadena and Altadena. 13,956 acres, 3% containment. But here's what's really devastating. Over 7,000 structures have been destroyed or damaged just in that fire alone.
Wait, go through that number one more time.
Over 7,000 structures have been damaged or destroyed just in the Eaton fire.
Okay. Obviously, if one of your homes, your businesses was destroyed in this fire, or in some case, multiple homes, multiple businesses, it's a tragedy for you. But this is going to be catastrophic for everyone in the state because everyone's insurance premiums are going to spike if you're not dropped altogether.
Well, Ricardo Lara went ahead and put in those emergency orders where for the next year, people in that fire zone and the fire zone in the Palisades can't be dropped. But that doesn't stop the insurance companies from dropping everybody else.
Right. And they're trying to pull out of the market altogether. What a mess. Also, another suspected arsonist, Randy, is in custody.
This is the second one we've seen so far. This coming from KTLA. A 60-year-old woman faces a felony charge for alleged arson at Leo Carrillo State Park in L.A. County. She allegedly started a fire. It was quickly extinguished. She's being held in jail. She's being held at the Todd Road Jail in Santa Paula in lieu of $20,000 bail. She faces a felony charge of recklessly causing a fire of a structure or a forest. That's the second one we've seen. There was the guy arrested yesterday who had a blowtorch and was trying to light up dried Christmas trees in Woodland Hills. He was placed under citizen's arrest until Topanga Division got there. They booked him and then questioned him, and then apparently didn't have enough evidence to take him in for arson or alleged arson, but they got him on a probation charge. It's the weirdest story. I don't know what's going on.
All right, let's go to the phones and begin with Marilyn in Los Angeles. Marilyn, hello.
I'm glad I had to wait a little bit online because I was able to actually start breathing again and not be so angry. I was going to use the word pissed. My husband and I were standing a few feet apart from each other yesterday. When he got the alert, the warning, I didn't. And I panicked. Why did I panic? Because I've suspected from the beginning these fires that are so far apart couldn't possibly be started by embers. It must be arson. So when I discovered it wasn't our primary residence, I looked 40 miles away to see if it was our rental house, and it wasn't our rental house. I want to thank KBC for a story they did about the reservoirs we all voted on 10 years ago. They wanted additional reservoirs. We voted for it. The money's in the state's budget, and they never built them because due to environmental red tape. So my message to the governor of the state of California, I like to refer to him as Gruesome Newsom. Don't even think about running for president, you incompetent boob. And my message to Mayor Karen Bass is go ahead, take back to us later. And my message to the general public is please, please, please stop voting for these liberal Democrats. They're ruining our state. Just look around, see what they're doing, please. That's it. That's all I have to say. Thank you for letting me get it off my chest.
Well, thank you so much for the call. We appreciate it.
I had to dump some of it, but she was passionate.
We love it. Let's go to Jessica in West L.A. Jessica, hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I wasn't sure since I got 6 more of those alert things while waiting on hold. I can't even believe it. I don't even know how to use the phone, how to get him off the phone. And anyway.
Wait. You've been on hold for some time now, but let's just say less than an hour. They have blown up your phone with 6 more alerts telling you to evacuate?
Yes. One of them was fire department alert. Another one was county something. Then it showed the one from yesterday where they canceled it and said disregard. But they showed all the other ones that happened within the last hour. Oh, boy.
Unreal.
Burglars doing it. I thought, well, okay. What happened was my power went out. I've been the only one, they told me, that because I was the only landline left, and now I don't have that anymore. For 13 years, I was the only one that let water and power know when the power was down. But nobody else got salmonella poisoning like I did this time without the power, without having the landline. Okay? So I'm still fighting from the burglary last January 23rd. My whole neighborhood was hit, and which the 911 lady told me by saying, she said, "Are they still there?" I said, "I've been on hold half an hour. Why would they still be here to talk to you?" And she says, "Well, we've been real busy tonight." By a week later, I realized she didn't mean they're bringing them coffee and donuts. You know? So, but it turned out, and it's freaked out everyone in the neighborhood. No one wants to talk about it at all. The men are all of a sudden got muscles all over their shoulders and everything because they feel like they couldn't protect their families because they couldn't because there's no law enforcement. So now let's hope that changes. Apparently it's not going to be overnight. So now I thought it must be the burglars. When Tuesday at just around 1, it's always around 1 p.m. stuff happens. The power went out twice, and then, but it came back up in between, and then again a third time did not come back up. So Wednesday I thought, well, I went and pushed the little button on the phone that showed me what time it was. I thought, if the phone works at all, because I didn't know what time it was because everything was down in my electric clocks. So, and it worked. I thought, I wonder if I could call DWP and report this. I'll give it a shot. I tried. I reached a lady there, and I reported it. So then I called a friend of mine on the west side, and a couple I've known since we were all in baby group with our little babies, who are now 46 years old, and told them that about the water and power situation, and that I'd reported it, and then I thought I better call again because of that weird alert that I had ignored, that first one right after the lady took the report. So I called Water and Power back. While I was on the phone with him, I got another one of those weird alerts saying, so what is this? I'm not anywhere near there. I'm sure it's got to be a mistake or burglars that want you out of your house so they can come in and raid. That's what they do.
Well, and that's a reasonable conclusion to jump to, because we've seen a number of looters who have been caught. I think, Randy, it was 20 people arrested as of yesterday when Nathan Hochman came on the program, correct?
That's what we had heard yesterday. And if you got to imagine, if there were 20 arrests, 5 times that amount of people got away with it.
Thank you for the call.
It's gotten so bad, you know, that Sheriff Luna called in the National Guard to patrol the Eaton Canyon area.
Well, and so we know that there were 3 alerts that were sent by the time they had the press conference. But according to our listeners, now this caller said that they hit her with 6 different ones today within the hour.
I learned a lot in that call.
We had another emailer, 2 emailers, who said that they were receiving the alert from the time the show started. So whatever glitch they have going on over there, they clearly haven't fixed.
They have not gotten to the root cause of that one. And the biggest source of mistrust with Los Angeles County is that system blowing up and nobody having an answer for it. Karen Bass refusing to talk about it. And the guy who's apparently in charge of it saying, we don't know what happened.
Let's go to Daniel in Long Beach. Daniel, hello.
Yeah, hi there. I just probably less than an hour ago here put out a fire. Was getting off the highway, just off the, gosh, which freeway was it? Anyways, just, I want to say the 405. No, it wasn't a 405. Anyways, I was getting off the freeway, happened to see a fire and smoke. Went and pulled over, ran out, and put it out. You know, I buried it and ended up putting it out, and then ran back and grabbed some water and doused it. But, yeah, the guy left his lighter and, you know, just kind of set a pile of wood, twigs and different things right under a bush, and was also burning some palms. So that a Caltrans employee ran up after me with an extinguisher, and he went and said he saw the guy, you know, darker skin complexion, guy probably transient, and he said the guy just kind of went and walked off after he lit it.
How reckless do you have to be to light a fire in these conditions?
Yeah, well, this, like I said, this didn't seem like he was just lighting it to warm up. It's not that cold. It's in the middle of the day.
Well, thank you for the call. I appreciate it.
John, we know that even when it's not this insane wind going on, at least 16 fires a day are started in Los Angeles County, and half of those, according to the LAFD chief Crowley, are started by homeless people.
Well, you have people who are so severely mentally ill or on such heavy-duty drugs, they don't know about the world around them. So they're not watching the news. They're not paying attention to the various agencies that are trying to put information out there related to the wind, related to the fires. They're just out doing what they're doing. And this is part of the problem. Why allowing these homeless encampments to exist is a severe fire threat. Fortunately, we're able to put out most of the fires before they spread, but when the wind is blowing hard, you can't necessarily do that all of the time, and some of them get away from you. And when they get away from you, they can be deadly, as we're learning right now. Let's go back to the phones and welcome Freddie in Los Angeles. Freddie, hello.
Hold on. Hi. How you doing today, John?
Good.
Okay, so first of all, I want to say, did you see when that woman approached Gavin Newsom in the Palisades, and he said to her, "Well, I'm on the line with the president right now, and I'm going to talk to him about your daughter and you." Okay, and then she said, "Let me see it," and then he goes, "Well, I've tried 5 times." but he's such a sick liar. It's unbelievable. Doesn't anybody pick up on this?
Yes, I am aware of that. In fact, we have the sound. Randy, let's go ahead and listen.
This is what was played on Sky News yesterday. Thanks for the call, Freddie.
Evacuation order for Malibu, east of Las Flores.
As the emergency alerts continue unabated across Los Angeles, Rachel is returning to the Pacific Palisades.
Oh, 719 Island Street, good.
It's been home her whole life, but she barely recognises it.
Apocalypse.
Around every corner, almost complete destruction.
This was a little cooking store thing. This is a parking lot for a center.
Firefighting planes bringing water from the ocean to tackle the blazes still raging in all parts of this city. Growing too is anger at a perceived lack of preparedness by authorities.
We shouldn't be seeing this.
The Brits are going after us.
Well, they have good reason to.
Picking people for softness or for the fuzzy feeling you got because they seem like they're good people. I want to know that we're going to have someone in charge.
Then Rachel spots a face she recognises.
Is that Gavin Newsom? That's the governor. That's the governor. Governor, I live here, governor. That was my daughter's school, Governor. Please tell me what you're going to do. I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
I'm literally talking to the president right now.
No, you're not.
Okay, that is a lie, and she's about to catch him.
Wasn't this the guy that just telling Biden about misinformation, and he's lying to this woman?
Yep.
To specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it.
I love her.
Well, you don't believe it for good reason. He just lied to your face.
California Governor Gavin Newsom is being criticised by some for water mismanagement as hydrants ran dry while fires multiplied.
So I have to get cell service.
So let's get it.
So you weren't on the phone with him?
No, he wasn't.
Let's get it. I want to be here when you call the president.
I appreciate it. I'm doing that right now. And it's to immediately get reimbursements, individual assistance, and to help you. I'm devastated for you. I'm so sorry, especially for your daughter. I have 4 kids. Losing the school.
You mean the ones in fancy private school that didn't even have to stay home during COVID?
Oh, yeah, I remember that. His kids weren't wearing masks.
Losing the school.
Everyone who went to school there, they lost their homes. They lost 2 homes because they were living in one and building another. Governor, please tell me, what are you going to do with the president right now?
We're getting the resources to help rebuild.
Why was there no water in the hydrants, Governor?
These are the toughest questions Gavin's ever had to face.
He's not used to it.
That's all literally.
Is it going to be different next time?
It has to be. Has to be. Of course.
What are you going to do?
I'm doing
To
everything
fill the
I can.
hydrants. I would fill them up personally. You know that.
I literally have.
I would fill up the hydrants myself.
I understand.
But would you do that?
I would do whatever I can.
But you're not. I see the. Do you know there's water dripping over there, Governor? There's water coming out there. You can use it.
Diminishing winds are bringing some respite.
So, yeah, that went everywhere.
It's such a bad look for him, too. Because, again, he lied right to her face. Now, think about this for a second. One of the biggest things that happened, not just for this country, but for this state, that's impacting how this story is being told, is Elon buying Twitter. Because go back to the statement that he made to Biden earlier. He said that misinformation is killing them on this story.
I ask you, we've got to deal with this misinformation. There were hurricane force winds of mis and disinformation lies.
By the way, that's tasteless to call it hurricane force winds of misinformation when we're in a wind event.
How much do you want to bet that if the old crowd still owned Twitter, you wouldn't be able to tweet that the reservoir was empty? You wouldn't be able to tweet that there wasn't water coming out of the fire hydrants. You wouldn't be able to tweet that the county was sending out erroneous evacuation orders. You wouldn't be able to share this video of him being caught on tape lying right to this woman's face. They're disputing whether or not the fire department had their budget cut by $17 million. They're saying that's fake news. It's totally true. They would get you bounced from social media if you put that out there. But now that Elon owns Twitter, they've lost control. And we can all share that information, Much of that information, by the way, didn't come from the news media. It came from people in the neighborhood who shared it on Twitter, posted pictures of it, and then that's how it got out. If it weren't for people sharing information that they know on social media and other people sharing it in their social networks, I'm sure Gavin Newsom's narrative would be the one that took. And you know the LA Times would run with that. But they have lost control. They cannot prevent you from hearing the truth, seeing the truth, and sharing the truth. We have one more hour coming up on the John Phillips Show right here on Talk Radio 790 KABC.